What is good, everyone? Welcome to the pilot episode of the Wet Willie podcast with your hosts, Jay and Adam. I'm Jay, that's Adam. And yeah, we're excited to get this thing started. We're coming fresh from our draft last night, and we're feeling pretty good, getting ready to dive into the fantasy season. And we're just two regular guys who love fantasy hockey. So we're going to come at you with our own personal league updates and news, what's been going on with us. And we're also going to come at you with some of our league rankings, some of our sleeper picks, what we think is going to happen this season, some hot takes, and just all around fantasy conversation. And yeah, we're excited to get this going. How you feeling, Adam?
Oh, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I feel like we've been doing this podcast for 3 years, just in our own little
Yeah,
separate chat, and I think the world's ready for this. I think there's something
yeah,
missing
they're
out
ready
there.
to experience. Yeah, just like Adam said, we've been pretty much flooding our group chat with fantasy talk. So we decided, why not just bring it out there to the world?
That's it.
Yeah, so yeah, like I said, we just finished our fantasy draft. So now that you've slept, you've let it marinate, how are you feeling?
How am I
What are
feeling?
your thoughts
I'm
on your team?
I'm feeling pretty good. So I think I think our league criminally underrates defensemen. I think there was a run on goalies this year, which I think was fairly appropriate.
There was
Um,
a run on goalies.
But yeah, I think D got slept on, and I think I cleaned up. I ended up with Heiskanen, Darlene, which she was my keeper, so I was gonna have him anyways. I picked up Dougie Hamilton. I got Brandon Montour stashed on my IR, and I had somebody else. I cleaned up. It
Just
was
for
pretty
reference,
nasty.
since you're wondering how the hell that happened, we're in an eight-man league, so the pool's pretty shallow, but we it kind of makes it hard because you have all these guys and you're looking at these guys on the waiver wires tearing it up, but you're like, I don't want to drop a name like Miro Hiskinen for this, like, whatever the flavor of the week. So you're kind of just watching and you're holding on to these guys. So it's good to have stacked teams, but it's also difficult.
Yeah,
But like you said, you have been cleaning out. I'm looking at the draft. You got Dougie 18th, you got Miro 38th, Evan 43rd.
yeah, Evan
See, I
Bouchard.
had
That's right.
Miro and Evan Bouchard was a scoop. He was a scoop.
He was
I
on
had him
fire last
queued, but
year. He
yeah,
ended the
he
year
was.
so strong once they got rid of Tyson Berry, and I feel like he's a candidate for a team that has like easily the best power play. Like what do they score? What 1-2 power play goals a night?
They broke history last year. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was 24% or something like that.
And I know you disagree with me on this, but I think having Connor Brown back next to Connor McDavid after
Come
their
on,
time together in
Connor
Erie
Brown.
is going to be fire. I think that's gonna like that power play is gonna be so strong this year. I'm
I
pumped.
had to wake up this morning and look at waivers and see this guy pick up Connor Brown.
That's right.
Like, come on. We're in an eight-man league and he picks up Connor Brown.
Listen,
But I
listen.
bet he'd be back on waivers by October 20th, and I'm
Okay.
standing by that statement.
October 20th. We've got it on the pod now.
October
It's on
20th.
recording.
Yeah, it's on
Clip
record.
it. All
October
right.
20th. He'll
Clip
be
it.
on wire. Yeah, the Evan Bouchard pick, I really like it. 43rd, because he had 36 points in 33 games after Tyson Berry got traded. And that's pretty huge. Now he's going to start off the year with no anchor and no doubt he's that number one QB. Very good pick.
Yeah, I was happy with him. How about you? How do you feel about your draft?
I am feeling good. So I had number one overall pick. I teased I was gonna pick Connor Bedard for the entire offseason. And a part of me thought I was. He is a generational talent, but I don't know. We saw guys like Jason Robertson up there, Tage Thompson up there. I'm a forward. I'm a forward going fantasy player. So I see Jason Robertson, even in our league, with our league settings, last year, he finished one, two, three, four, five. He finished sixth overall, only behind Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Pasternak, Draisaitl, Connor McDavid. The fact that he wasn't a keeper, I'm sorry, John, that's kind of crazy. He should have. He definitely should have been a keeper. Yeah, behind those guys, that's some elite talent, and all
Yeah.
this kid does is score.
Yeah, I
Like
gotta.
last year, he had. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I agree. I think, I hear what John was saying. Saying that he was afraid of not having a goalie this year, and he didn't have any picks and all this kind of stuff. And like, I get that, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
come on.
I don't know. I think
Just coming.
Jason Robertson. That's a hard one to pass up. So I liked your
It is
pick.
hard.
I
Yeah, it
especially
was
liked your pick.
109 points, 46 points. Yeah, go ahead. I know you're gonna go.
Well, no, no, no. Finish it up. Finish it up.
Well, I was gonna say 109 points, 46 goals, coming off another 40 goal season. In his career, he has 210 games played, 234 points. This kid's a stud. He's only 24 years old. He's only gonna get better. I'm very happy about this pick.
That's a good pick. Honestly, I said I really
Yeah,
liked it. I'm just gonna throw up our league settings really quick, just so everyone can see.
yeah,
So this is what
you
we got going.
understand.
Right, we got 2 points for goals, a point for an assist, zero point 0.1 points for hits, shots on goals, and we added blocks this year, just to help boost defensemen a little bit. Um, and we also, I feel we can need a little more of a banger category. I know it's not a lot in there, but it's there. We got half a point for power play points, 2 points for a short-handed goal. Goalies get 4 for a win. They get 3 for a shutout. They get a -1 for a goal against, and they get zero point 0.1 for a save. So that's our league settings, just so a little more context for you all. But yeah, I really like your pick, not only because you got Jason Robertson. I thought he was the best player available. It's a smart pick, but also because it meant Connor Bedard slid to me, and I am so hyped.
That was
I'm so
surprising.
hyped.
Yeah, as you
Oh,
should be.
I don't get me wrong. I'm
As you should
happy.
be.
I'm happy to have Darlene as a keeper. I think he's great. I have Mikko Rantanen as my other keeper, and it's going to be a tough decision next year. But they're both so young. Rantanen's 23. Like I
Very
could
young.
easily I could go Rantanen Bedard down the like that's center right wing. I feel like that's so strong. I don't. I'm gonna have decisions next
Yeah.
year, but I'm pumped to have the hype of the Bedard. Even if I have to tank a little bit this year, which I don't think I'll have to do. I'm pumped
Hey,
for it.
if all the analysts are saying 40 goals with our league setting, 40 goals is huge for our league. So you might not necessarily be sacrificing that much. And yeah, you have Rantanen to kind of shelter him. He's a lock for 50 goals. I feel like he's a 40 goal floor and a 60 goal ceiling for that guy. So he will shelter you a little bit. And yeah, my two keepers were Marner and McCarr. So that's another reason why Jason Robertson was so enticing to me. But yeah, Connor Bedard went sixth overall. I went Jason Robertson, Tage Thompson, Nikita Kucherov, Brady Kachuk, which I liked the pick, but I thought he was going to fall a little bit.
I
Jake
would have taken him.
Ottinger, you would have taken him?
I was
Yeah.
kind of hoping that either Jason Robertson or Brady Chichuk would have fallen to me. Those were the two guys that I had my eye on.
I thought it was going to fall either, yeah, eighth or on the way back up, but fourth overall, which is, I do like the pick. He has a lot of peripherals,
Yeah,
but it definitely did surprise me a little bit.
yeah,
And then Jake Ottinger goes fifth, Connor Bedard sixth.
yeah.
How'd you
I
like the
do
Ottinger
think
pick?
I love the Ottinger pick. I think he's a strong goalie on a strong team, and wins are so valuable. And I mean, yeah, he's hot and cold or
Yeah,
whatever, but if you know what I mean, he's playing in front of a good team. I think they got better in the offseason. They got some young
they
guys
did.
coming up. Wyatt Johnson up the middle. I think they got better in the offseason. So yeah, I'm big on Dallas. I also think that I mean I like Brady Tkachuk. I do think he's going to have a bit of a drop off this year. I was listening to a podcast.
Like goals or points?
I
You
think
thinking
power play
points
points
wise?
in general. Yeah,
Power play points.
I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about Brady Kachuk and the Ottawa Senators just getting such a high amount of power play time last year, and I don't think it's repeatable. I think they made some good points there, and I think that I think that power play is still going to get better though this year. So I think they might get more efficient, but I think they're going to get less volume of power play time. So I don't know. I will see if Brady
True.
can bring it on 5-on-5. I don't see why he can't. He does have to make another step this year. I think that whole team does. I'm hoping for it. I picked up Jonas Corposalo as my second goalie or
Yeah,
third goalie. Sorry, way down in the draft. I kind of reached for him a little
that was
bit, but
that's also a little sleeper pick.
I'm betting on upside there. I'm betting on upside for sure.
Yeah, I could see him as a regression candidate, especially with the return of Josh Norris and also the addition of Vladimir Tarasenko. There's a lot more puck to go around, so he might necessarily be the guy that gets the shot off every time. But we also could be eating our words, and he could hit 40 goals finally. But we'll find out.
Yeah,
That's why I clip it.
yeah, clip it. Do you think Stu's gonna make the top line, or you think Josh Norris, when he's healthy, will still be the number one center in Ottawa?
It's tough because what's top line now is Kachuk, Stu, and does Tarasenko have that right wing?
I think it's Giroux right now.
Giroux. Okay, yeah, because Giroux was on second line last year with Cat. But yeah, I don't know. It depends how Norris comes in. I feel like he'll start second line. But Stu's still young. Obviously, he had a breakout year, but before that, he had 58 points. So
True.
we're kind of really gonna see how if he really is an elite player this year, if he could follow up that what was it 90 points, 92, something like that.
Yeah.
So we'll see if you could follow that up, then yeah. But maybe if you're having struggle being the number one C in like the defensive battles, they might throw Josh Norris up there. I feel like he has a little bit more experience guarding that ship.
Yeah.
But either way, it's a good problem to have, Josh Norris or Tim Stützle. No, we're Leaf fans, but Ottawa's on the rise, unfortunately. How do you like the Ovechkin and Linus Ullmark pick to cap off our round?
Okay, so I like Ovechkin. Maybe not quite that
I,
high, but I had him. So I traded my second round pick. I had two picks in the third. I was hoping to get Ovechkin to drop to the third. I would have scooped him there. I think he's just a perennial goal scorer. Like power play,
yeah,
all those things are high value in our league. So
every
um,
time we doubt the guy, he just comes back and scores 40 goals.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, he's so consistent, right? So I had no problem with Ovechkin kind of going that high. Linus Ullmark, I think that's a bit of a reach. I don't know what Boston does. Does he even end the season in Boston, right? Or do they trade Swayman,
Yeah, who knows?
right? And how are they
Yeah,
going to handle? They lost so many players: Bergeron, Orlov, Taylor Hall, David
David
Krejci.
Krejci.
Like
Yeah.
that. I do they come back
But
stronger?
they're all defensive-minded people. Yeah, it's
Uh,
tough. Boston's really tough. It's
yeah,
also tough because we counted them out last year and they ended up breaking the record.
true.
So who knows? Who
Yeah,
knows what these guys are? But yeah, I don't know. Pavel Zacha is a number one C to replace Bergeron. That doesn't bode well with me either.
yeah. Especially
But
defensively, right?
yeah, defensively stuff. Orlov was definitely a loss. He helped them out a lot last year. But I think Fab definitely covered himself by picking up Swayman, so he locks up the Boston crease.
Yeah.
So if he does get traded, he could have two number one goalies. Who knows? And if not, if Boston does well, I think he'll lock up a lot of wins.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to talk to you about was our boy William Nylander finally getting some respect and going at the top of the second round.
I gotta be honest. I was shocked at that one. I love me. I am a Willie Nylander. We're both. It's the Wet Willie pod.
The
We
Wet Willie
love
pod.
William
Yep,
Nylander.
he's a stud.
I don't know. I think that's a little bit high. I don't get me wrong. I think he had a great year. He's in a
He did
a contract year.
contract
Does he
year.
follow up a career year in a contract year with another career year? I think it's totally possible. They got deeper up front. I don't know. He's back on PP1, so I'm happy about that. I
That's
think
gonna help a lot.
Yeah, I
He
don't think
should have
he
never. He
ever.
should have never been off of PP1. Like I don't know
Yeah,
the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure he was one of the top like zone entering forwards on the power play, and Keith had him on power play too for some reason. So I'm glad that nonsense is over,
yeah,
and our power play one could be stacked this year. And yeah, I feel like he'll do really good. He's probably another lock for 40 goals if everything bodes well.
yeah. My only thing is I really wish he would be back on the line with Matthews. I just don't get it. I think they have such
I
good
know.
chemistry. I think those two need to be back together. And if Keith is worried about his job at any point in the year and he's looking to change things up, and that spark,
Just slop him in.
I
The
could see
numbers
it
back the
sticking.
decision. The numbers back the
Yeah,
decision. So I don't know if it's just like a players thing, could be wrong, or
yeah,
who knows? Maybe just maybe a coaching stubbornness to him. But it's always a good option. You could switch Willie, switch Marner, because even Marner and Tavares, they tore it up for the beginning of the year. I had Tavares in fantasy, and also Marner. They were just feeding each other pucks and goals all year round. So
yeah,
either line combination works, but I feel like with Nylander with Matthews is the one that should stick. I agree with that.
yeah.
So the first D man to go off the board that's not a keeper, Eric Carlson. On
Yeah.
paper, it makes sense. He's coming off 100 points. First defenseman to do that in I don't know how many years. But I don't think it would have been my first defenseman. Not only because I have a sour point to pick against Dubas and the Pittsburgh Penguins, but I feel like it might be like a similar situation we saw in San Jose when he had to share the puck with Brett Burns. Now he has to share the puck with Letang. Like, who gets that PP1? I see they're both starting on PP1, just like how they kind of had the Ekblad Montour both start on PP1. But I could see Carlson's definitely going to stick on PP1 for the entire year. But who knows if he could put up 100 points in San Jose, I could probably put up 80, 90 Pittsburgh, maybe even another 100. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
just eating my words, but he played 82 games. That was a difference maker, right? Usually He hasn't done that since his Ottawa days.
Yeah, like just before he had his Achilles done, right? Like it's been a long time
Yeah,
since he played 82. And I agree with you. I think, splitting time is always tough. I love Chris Letang. And you're banking on chemistry. Now, don't get me
stud.
wrong. When you got players like, Crosby and Malkin on the power play, how much does chemistry actually matter? How many guys have come through that system and been created playing on Crosby's wing, right? So,
Yeah,
no
Crosby makes
shade to those
everyone.
guys, but he makes players, right?
Oh
Um,
yeah,
so yeah,
yeah,
I
and then
agree
when
with
they get
you. I think there's upside there. I definitely think that it could be a 100-point season, but I could also see, injuries coming back. I could also see chemistry issues.
that's the
I could
biggest
see
question, injuries.
I don't think they're a deep team either. So is Carlson going to play
No,
30 minutes a night with Sidney Crosby? Obviously not, right? He's going to have times where he's out there with Alex Nylander and with
yeah,
guys you've probably never
like
heard of
Raquel. Yeah,
because
exactly.
their third and fourth line, they're just not a deep team anymore.
And Pittsburgh got really lucky. Even Malkin played 82 games. He hasn't done that since like 2008. Like they all played 82 games. So if that happens again, it could be a good pick. But I don't know, banking on a lot of health and what ifs. But
Risky.
if that happens, we're in trouble because that team also has Connor McDavid. So he'll get 100 points off of his C and 100 points off of his D. So
Yeah.
Mike, hopefully that doesn't happen, my friend.
Yeah, and I think to be honest, and we'll get to this later. We'll talk about our top 25 picks. I
Yeah,
had Roman Yossi as my number two. Number two defenseman.
as your number 2.
I think Kale McCarr is the clear cut number one. I
Yeah,
think he's due for a bounce back, but I think Roman Yossi, he's just, again, we talk about a
like that's
figure of consistency. Even on that Nashville
honestly.
team, he's gonna be the guy that drives it.
And he's the guy. I get the whole argument like, oh, who's he gonna play with? Nashville fucking sold everyone, but that's exactly it. Who's he gonna play with? He's the guy. He's gonna be the shot generator. He's gonna be the point getter. He's gonna be out there for 26 minutes a night. And like I agree with you. I feel like he's not getting enough respect. And I'm just putting up his points. Like, what, 59 last year? He had injury years, but 59 points in 67 games. The year before that, he's coming off 96 points in 80. Like, he was almost a 100-point defenseman. And we would have been talking about him instead of Erik Karlsson. So
Yeah.
I do think like, you're right. He is the guy, and he got like very disrespected. I feel like it's just because of one bad year. So I am happy with that pick. I picked him at the top of the round 3, and that was the third defenseman off the board. Adam Fox, Erik Karlsson, Adam Fox, Roman Yossi.
Yeah.
But yeah, I rated Yossi really high, especially with the added block shots in our league. Like I think he had like 200 block shots last year, so
Yeah, the
that's
peripherals
pretty.
definitely add up for him for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a pretty good pick. Let me see. No, not 200. Sorry, 146 block shots.
Still.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Not too shabby. Who was your D3 after that? Because when I picked, so it went UC Saros, Roman Yossi, which I found hilarious because you usually pick them back to back. That was your pick last year. But Mike went with Saros to end the second round, and then I went with Yossi to begin the third because I didn't have a second round pick or a fourth. So I'm like, I needed to get my guy, and I saw Yossi there. It was between Yossi and Dougie Hamilton, and I felt good about Yossi, but as soon as I clicked him and then you drafted Dougie, there's a part of me that was like, fuck, I probably should have gotten Dougie Hamilton. So was he your D3 or was that just the New Jersey connection? You wanted that again?
So I had Dougie rated really highly. He was my next highest defenseman. I did like the fact I like New Jersey's schedule this year. I like them as a
Yeah.
team. I think they got deeper, so he's going to get more quality minutes. Kind of like I was talking with Carlson, right? Like yeah, like even if he's not out there with the first line, Dougie's going to play 28 minutes a night, and the top three lines can all roll in New Jersey. So I really really like that for
Oh,
him.
yeah.
But my third D I
Power play is
have
going to be nasty.
is my boy, my second keeper, Rasmus Dahlin. I think the sky's the
Dalina.
limit for Buffalo.
Okay. I see that. I see
So
that. He broke out last year hard.
yeah,
And it's weird because he came in the league so young, so you kind of feel like he's been in the league forever. But he only started like 2019. So, well, how old is this guy? I have it pulled up right here. He's 23 years old. Like, and he put up how many points? It was in the 90s last year, correct?
Darlene, I
Oh, no, he got injured. He put
yeah,
up 73 points in 78 games, but I think he has like 80, 90 point potential if he plays a full 82. And Buffalo's only getting better. He had
yeah,
to suffer through 4 years of terrible Buffalo teams. And now with getting Tage Thompson, Skinner's finally scoring goals. Tuck is there. Future's looking
Yeah,
up.
Dylan
Devin
Cousins
Levi's
coming
there
up.
now to hold the fort.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do like Dali. 23 years old. Man, he has a whole future ahead of him.
yeah. Yeah, my only fear is, Owen Powers coming up. He's making a name for himself. I don't think he'll
That's the thing.
supplant Darlene. I think Darlene's kind of, he's labeled their guy. He's their franchise defenseman.
Yeah,
But I mean, maybe it's nice. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's someone to push him. You know what I mean? I think the world of Owen Power as well, another strong, first round pick. So there's definitely like there's more in the organization, and I think we're going to see that every year. We're going to see guys coming out of the woodworks, just prospects that are starting to flourish, find their ground. And I think like
oh
Dylan
yeah.
Cousins last year, I think he's going to have another great year. Casey Middlestad, like they're just such a deep team. JJ Paterka, I think Buffalo's poised. As much as Leafs fan, as much as I hate to say it, I do think good things of Buffalo. That's why I reached on Devin Levi as well.
Yep.
Um,
Grab Devin Levi. That surprised me as well. So your goalie strategy this year, like usually you go for the top guy right away. This time you waited. Like when was your first selection? You got Samsonov, which I still have a bone with you to pick over. I had said, okay, I got to rewind. Last year,
turn
I
back the clock.
turned back the clock. Adam drafted Matt Murray late
Yeah,
in the rounds. And as a joke, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to draft Ilya Samsonov. So it's a year
you
long
hate picked
feud.
him. You hate
I
picked him.
hate picked him. He ended up to be a stud. Save
You came
percentage,
through.
wins after wins, 13 home wins in a row or something like that. But you would not admit that he was a better goalie all year round until the draft last night where you selected him.
Yeah,
You
you know
selected
what?
him in the fourth round.
At least we're lucky. We needed that. We needed him to come through. I was really hoping for Matt Murray. I thought he would be healthy. I had
Yeah,
high hopes
shout out
for him.
Dubas getting that insurance.
Yeah,
Samsonov ended up working out.
yeah, and that's the thing, right? He had his backup case, but he also had a good case of Murray. Murray started the year strong. I really
He
thought I
did.
had a good situation there, and it started out well, but then obviously, like things, the wheels kind of came off that bus. So I was happy to get Samsonov. I had hoped, I had hoped for Ottinger. I didn't think Ottinger would go in the first round. I
I
liked
hope for
Hellebuck.
Ottinger as well.
I liked
Yeah.
Hellebuck as well. He went in the second round.
He went in the second, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, to
So I
Gabe's team.
I didn't have a pick in the second, so I kind of felt, a lot of the guys I'd wanted weren't there. And so I figured, I don't need to take them and I don't need to take the goalie in the third because I wasn't really that high on him. But when the fourth came around, I was like, you know what? So many goalies had gone,
Yeah, there
especially
was
a
a
lot of the
run.
guys I didn't really want. I was like, I need to get something. I need to have at least one solid guy, and Samsonov seemed like the guy for me.
Yeah.
I really
He was
wanted
my
Hellebuck.
target. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
I think he was G. It went Shesterkin was my G1, and then I thought I had Ottinger G2, and then Hellebuck was third or fourth. But just because of his starts, the guy plays 60 games or whatever, and he just wins. Like
yeah.
even if Winnipeg lost a couple of players, he's still gonna win. And if he gets traded, he's going to a contender who needs a goalie. So
Yeah, that's my
you
thought
never know.
too. Contract year for the guy. I don't think Winnipeg's on the rise anymore. I think they're on the decline.
Winnipeg should cut ties. Just get as many draft picks as you can for the guy. But I
Yeah.
think the only thing, how old is he? He's in his 30s, no, 33, 32.
Yeah, I think
But
something like maybe early 30s.
we will get better with ages as the pod goes on. We'll have accurate facts, but this is the pilot. You're with us. But I know he's in his late 30s and he's looking for big money. So that might be the only thing to defer
Yeah,
some contenders because who's a contender that has the cap space now?
true.
I really don't see anybody right now. As opposed to like it depends. Well, Vazzy's out for 2 months, but does Tampa go out and get a goalie? But when
Yeah.
Vazzy's back, what happens? That's an 8 million cap. You can't go in and get a number one stud. You have to go get a reliable backup.
I mean, what about
So lay
Carolina,
off
right?
Martin Jones.
What about
Eh,
Carolina?
Car- but
I know Anderson
Carolina has
probably
four
has.
goaltenders.
Yeah, and I know Anderson probably has a note in trade and all this kind of stuff. But I mean, if you can, I don't know, if you can make it work. Again, this is all hypothetical, but I do really think that like maybe you move another big name that is maybe on the way out for a Hellebuck, who's actually only 30 years
Yeah,
old, and goalies have a late
and
aging
he's
curve.
durable.
He's durable.
Yeah,
He could
Hellebuck's
probably
durable.
do.
He's barely injured, the guy.
You give him you're gonna have to give him a full 7-8 year whatever new contract,
Yeah,
but
he's gonna want
you're gonna
money.
get 4 or 5 years out of him. You know what I mean? You can get him till he's 35, 36, playing good hockey. So I don't know. I liked Hellebuck. I thought he'd be good this year. I liked his schedule. Um, yeah, I was kind of hoping for him, but yeah, like you said, the run on goalies. I ended up with Samsonov. I'm not too
Yeah,
mad. I'm not
I
too mad
don't
about
mind,
it.
man.
I'm a Leaf fan. I
Leafs if
can,
he's
I can. It
yeah,
gives me something to root for at least. I can root for the
you can
W.
enjoy all the games.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it. And like Leafs, like if everyone's projecting them, they might actually win the Atlantic. So that's about 40 to 50 wins for Samsonov, which is huge.
Yeah.
So, and the team behind him, I think the team's tougher and the best that we've ever been. Defense definitely took a little hit, so it might be a little bit more work for him to keep the puck out. But what was he, first in inner slot chance saves last year down the stretch? So that is huge. So I do like that pick a lot because he was going to be. I had two picks in the fifth round, and he was going to be one of my goalies. But looking back, I slept on defense a lot. I saw Steven Stamkos there, and I took him, and then you took Miro Heiskanen right after. I wanted that connection to J. Rob, but didn't get it. Didn't get it.
Yeah, surprised how
What was your
far Stammer dropped.
Stammers fell? He was in the fifth round. I think it
Yeah.
was 33rd overall. I think people are just maybe they're just hesitant on Tampa Bay this year, which I don't blame them. I mean, they lost a lot of their depth. I think Kaloran's going to be a bigger loss than people think. He was really good as their depth piece, and he was kind of a grinder.
Yeah.
And I guess, yeah, Hedman's coming off injury. I still don't know who PP1 is. It's going to be Sergachev or Hedman. But,
Yeah.
but I think I like the pick of Stamkos because I got good value on him and he's pissed off. We saw that interview. He's in a contract year. He's here to prove, like, pay me my fucking money. Like,
Yeah.
I won you two cups. Well, he didn't win the first cup, I guess, but the second cup, he was crucial in that run. But yeah, the guy's pissed. He wants a contract. He wants to get paid. So I'm excited for the start of the season. I think he's going to be the trigger man. He's going to want that puck on his stick, and he's going to score and make them pay him.
Yeah. I mean, I hope for him. I like the guy, and yeah, like I said, if you hadn't picked him, I saw him falling, and I was
Yeah.
ready to scoop him. So
Arden kept saying, "Who's going to pick Stamkos?" I'm like,
yeah.
"All right, I will." What was your favorite pick in the early rounds?
My favorite pick in the early rounds.
That's not yours.
That's not mine. I don't know that Bedard pick.
that that Bedard pick, though, six overall, that could be sneaky. You think with our keeper limit is so you'll have him for this year and then our keeper limit's 4 years after that. You think you'll get like a 90 or 100 points in 4 years?
Ah, yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, so I'll have
Yeah,
five full seasons with him. I think season one and two, I'm projecting probably 70 to 80 this year. I think probably 80 to 90 is reasonable next year. And then my
that
hope
is
is in the
reasonable.
third year, I hope he's pushing 100. Maybe he doesn't hit 100 in the third year, but I think definitely years four and five, um, we'll see. My camera's out of focus all of a sudden.
Yeah, I used to stop
Anyways,
blurry. Your camera
there we go.
disagrees with your Bernard
Yeah,
prediction.
yeah,
No, the kid's a stud. His shot's so good, and they're saying he's small, but I don't know, I'm watching him in preseason. Guys are going to check him, and they can't catch him. Like he has such good edge work, and I feel like the only downfall is his line mates are trash. Like if he went when I got first overall pick before the draft happened. I was like, if he goes to Columbus or Anaheim, well, I'm scooping him without even thinking about it. Because that chance to play with
yeah.
Gaudreau or Liney, or the chance to play with Troy Terry, or I guess I was going to say Zegras, but he might not be an Anaheim Ducks shortly. But
Do you think he goes
those two
somewhere?
thoughts, like, I don't know, they're not signing him. The dude thinks he, after one lacrosse goal, he's worth more than 3 million. But I don't know. He's a 60-point center, so he might have to take a bridge deal and like kind of like a prove it deal to get paid.
I do agree. I think
But it's,
he's gotta finally put up that definitive like 85, 90 point season. Like he's had enough of the
yeah,
almost 80 like almost point per game player. He needs to break it through. And yes, they're not a deep team, but they've got the talent at the top end. So I don't know. Maybe it's just that maybe they need a defenseman that's able to move the puck a little
they
more for
need
the power play.
something.
I don't know. They need
Yeah, well,
something.
they tried that with Klingberg, and that failed miserably. But maybe Klingberg's
Yeah.
just not the guy. They have Drysdale too, that's not signed, and Drysdale's supposed to
Did
be
you mute
very good.
yourself? Unplug yourself,
No,
maybe.
you hear me?
Oh, there you go. You're back. Yeah, you're back.
Maybe just a thing. Yeah, I'm saying they have Drysdale that's supposed to be the next big guy. Not even he's signed, so who knows? Yeah, Zegras last year, 65 points in 81 games, and it's 61 and 75. That's not terrible, like 65 points, but if you want to get paid like a 1C in the league, you're going to have to at least put up like a 75 to 85 point campaign, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe hit a 30 goal, 20, back-to-back 23 goals, 21 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
If
I'm
I
not
had
a
to
big
pick,
Zegras guy.
I think one of my surprise pick in the first few rounds is gonna have to be Gabe scooping Timo Meyer at what is that? It's fourth overall in the round in the third round. So
Yeah,
what
third
is that?
round.
20th
What would that
overall,
pick
something like
be?
that. Yeah, I like that pick. I
Pick
had him queued
in
up as my
20th.
second pick
Yeah,
in the third round. I got Dougie Hamilton early in the third, and I was thinking, you know what, if I can get Timo on the
I
way
like
out,
Dougie Hamilton.
yeah,
Yeah,
for
that would have been good.
that Jersey connect. But yeah, knowing our
I
league, I
do like
probably
that
could have
pick a
gotten away
lot.
with it. But you started that round picking Yossi, and I was like, you know what, if there's a run on D here, I got to get one of my
Yeah,
guys.
I felt
So
like there was going to be because the first round was all forwards, but second round it went Eric Carlson and Adam Fox like right away, and then two goalies like Hellebuck Usaro. So I'm like, oh my god, here comes the D and goalie run. Like that was my
yeah,
thought. So then I look and I'm like, okay, I want Yossi because like Makar and Yossi sounds pretty sexy. You had them and worked out for you. You won the league with that combo. So picked Yossi thinking like the D run was gonna happen, and then you picked Dougie. I'm like, oh, thank God I picked it, and then it was just forwards after that. So probably could have waited a little longer, but whatever. We got Yossi and Dougie, so I'm not complaining that much.
no,
Hopefully they just both stay healthy. But yeah, Timo Meyer, I do like the pick. He is a stud, but only thing that again that worries me, same thing with Eric Carlson, is there's a lot of pucks, there's a lot of skates, there's a lot of sticks to go around there
it's true.
in the
That's true.
power play. Like they got Jesper Bratt, Dawson Mercer's coming up. They
Yeah,
even got Tyler Toffoli this year. Like
yeah.
who he should start on PP1, but if you like going from being the guy in San Jose to now being one of the guys in Jersey, might hit him a little bit, but his peripherals will make up for it. He hits like a train.
Yeah,
He
and
shoots puck like a madman. So
yeah, and they do spread it around. I had I scooped Jesper Bratt like I think he's my last pick in the
it was
draft
your
last
last round
year.
pick last year.
Well,
Yeah,
that was a
your
pretty
very last
decent
pick.
scoop. I got Nico
I
Heisler
like
off
that
the
scoop.
wire. I had Hamilton. I
I like
drafted.
Nico too.
So I kind of I had
Hamilton, you drafted late, and it worked out for you last year.
yeah, and I mean he had the injury concerns going into last year, and I guess he technically still has them. But I don't know. I feel like he's been
Yeah,
better off, and I gotta say like I like that New Jersey. I was watching them last year, but they really did spread it around. Those guys, I don't like. They never
yeah,
really had a lot of like 3 4 point games or whatever. It was a lot of consistency. It was a point, 2 points. It was very very steady, which is also nice. You got to you got to have your streaky guys, but you also got to have your consistent guys. So
yeah.
for fantasy purposes, I like New Jersey. I like that pick in the third round just because I think he
I
has
do
that
like that pick in
upside.
the third.
But
It's good value.
yeah, but I
Yeah,
think
left wing, right wing too.
yeah, he's got that the flexibility. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it. Like I said I would have taken him. I ended up with the Brinkat. I'm not sad about it. I think the Brinkat's going to have a breakout year again this year. I think he's going to bounce back. I think he had a lot of posts last year, and he think
Did.
he's due. I like the
He's in his
upside.
hometown playing with Larkin now. I think it's good too. I think he's happy now. Maybe in Detroit he wasn't really happy being like on the second line and the second option. So
Yeah.
he got most of his points off the power play in Detroit. So hopefully that changes. He gets some more 5-on-5 points. I mean on Ottawa last year.
Yeah. Well, and they've
Uh,
got Lucas Raymond, right, playing that kind of grinder, big body role, making space for him and Larkin, and Larkin's more of a
Raymond.
playmaker.
About him.
So if
Yeah.
DeBrincat's the trigger man on that line, on
The
that
trigger
power
man.
play, I'm happy with it. I feel like that's a good
You could
opportunity.
flirt with 40 goals because I feel like that's where he's most comfortable. He was a trigger man playing in Chicago with Cade. So
Yeah,
get him the puck and he'll rifle it in. So if he has a similar role, he could flirt with 40 goals again.
that's
I
what I
like
hope.
that value for a third round pick.
Yeah.
Some very good value for a third round pick was Braden Point. If you're going to Mike McDino, not every day you see a 50 goal scorer go in the third round, but first time he scored 50 goal. I feel like with Braden Point, if you look at his record, he has one good year followed by one bad year, then one good year followed by one bad year. He's such an interesting fantasy file. Just pulling up the stats right now. I love him. I had him last year. He scored 50 goals
You
for me. I'm
always
not
have him.
knocking him. I do. I love the guy. He's always on my target. But yeah, last year he had 95 points. Year before that he had 58 in 66 games, so it's not bad. Year before that 48 and 56, and then 2 years before that 92 and 79. So it's always like he's hot, then he's mid, then he's hot, then he's mid.
Yeah.
But
I feel like the
constant 20
health.
goal scorer.
I think
The
his
health
health is a
that's
big
big
part for him.
option too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played 82. So when he plays 82, he gets 95 points. Year before that, 66,
Yeah.
56, 66. So yeah, health is an issue, but I don't know. Having a 50 goal scorer in the third round, I like that pick a lot.
Yeah. So okay, so we got through the first three rounds. Do you want to now take a look at our top 25s? What we would have selected for the
Yeah,
first three rounds? Do
let's
you want to
do
do that?
that.
All right, let's
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 do
switch.
that.
All right, so I'm gonna switch us over here so everyone can see. This is what Jay and I had. Um,
I can't see
you
yours,
can't
but
see mine,
I
yeah.
can.
So
Yeah,
I'll walk you through it a little bit. So we'll start off at the top. Very very easy, very straightforward. We're both in line. Connor McDavid,
Whoa, I
Next.
can't believe that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a controversial number one. But
Uh,
yeah, we don't even have to discuss. It's Connor
no.
McDavid.
We got
He's
we
gonna be banned soon from fantasy leagues, I feel like.
we got Leon Draisaitl both at 2. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Next up is where we actually got it flipped. So you have Matthews
Ooh,
at 3 and McKinnon at 4.
McKinnon.
I have it the
I
other way.
struggled with that.
I had it super close too. I think I,
Yeah.
I, I was looking at their value over replacement, and I think I had them. They were separated by like point 0.3 of a point. It was super small
Yeah,
margin.
it's razor thin margin.
Yeah,
And they're both similar, both centermen. They both have injury concerns every year. But when they're
yeah,
both healthy, they're one of the best point per games players in the entire league. I
hmm
think like I was gonna put McKinnon third and Matthews fourth, just like you, but I think the only thing I like more is the line mates that Matthews is going to be playing with. If Landeskog was back and it was that Rant, Landeskog, and McKinnon lineup, I like that a lot. But I don't know, like Colorado's, they're always injured. Nichushkin gets injured every year. I
yeah.
don't really trust Lekanen that much, but he's playing with Rant, so I'm not knocking McKinnon at all. I have him fourth right after Matthews, but I just put Matthews up there just for the 60 goals. I feel like you could flirt with 50 again. And it's just razor thin. You could literally
Yeah.
flip a coin between those two, and you won't lose. You'll end up happy.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
think 100%. It's going to come down to injuries, and I think that's basically it.
Yeah, hopefully you can
Otherwise,
stay healthy.
yeah, you're going to end up with you can't go wrong with either guy. So the 3-4 is pretty
No, because
easy.
McKinnon's. Yeah, what about five? What you got
My
at
five.
five?
All right, so you had Nikita Kucherov, which I liked,
Yeah,
but that's like I liked that last year. This year, I have David Pasternak at 5.
yeah, Pasternak at five, eh?
Yeah, you have him down the 10 spot. Now I don't see this necessarily as a bad thing. With Bergeron gone, yes, obviously it's going to hurt them, but it's going to hurt them defensively. I don't think it hurts them offensively as much. And I think he
That is
raises the
true.
ships around him. So I think Pavel Zacha could have a nice year. I think it's an opportunity for maybe a younger guy to kind of step in. They could, I don't know. I think they could maybe make a trade during the year
Make
if it's
some
not working
adjustments,
out.
yeah.
But I think, yeah, the
They're
Bergeron.
definitely going to be a deadline team. Depending if they're a fringe playoff team, I feel like they'll be a buyer at the deadline for sure to get them over that hump.
Yeah, I think Bergeron going is. I think it hurts the team more than it hurts Pasternak. I think Pasta's still going to produce. So yeah, I've got Pasta
Yeah,
number
I
5.
agree. It's tough. I had to put Cooch there because it's like a healthy Cooch is a disgusting Cooch. He just keeps proving me wrong. 113 points in 82 games. First time he played 82 games since 2018-19. So there's that concern. But even when he doesn't, 85 points in 68, 69 and 47, like he is just a point getter. And I feel like now that Tampa lost their depth, they're going to rely on Kucherov a lot more. And the same could be said about Pasternak. The only thing why I rated Pasternak so low is just I don't see Boston just tearing it up. Like I'm praying for their downfall more than anyone, but I don't see them tearing it up, and especially like when Pasternak didn't have David Krejci on his line, 48 points in 48 games, 77 and 72. Like he just becomes a point per game player. They got Krejci back, 113 points in 82. So I don't know if he's gonna blend that well with Zaka, but him and Marchand are gonna be the trigger man. So I could be eating my rankings right now, and Boston fans, I'm sorry, all of the fans watching,
Yeah,
but yeah, I had to put Pasta down there. Just seeing the guys I put ahead of him, I don't know. I
yeah.
couldn't justify putting him ahead of those guys.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So in the 6th spot, we actually agree. We both got Matthew Tkachuk. I think
There
it's
it
a good
is.
assessment for fantasy. I think
Yeah,
he's kind of got he's got all the peripherals. He's the trigger man. He's playing in a good situation. I don't think he replicates the year he had last year. I think with
no.
all the injuries of Montour and Ekblad, I think that they're gonna have a bit of a slow start. But I still think he's a strong guy, and yeah, the
Yeah.
peripherals make
And
him
I
worth
put
it.
him in the sixth spot because I doubted him. Like every time a player goes to a new team, you don't know if it's going to be the Huberdeau effect where they just like collapse, right? But coming off 92 points, brand new team, he puts up 105. Like, oh no, that's Ranton. Sorry, I have Ranton stacks though. But you know what I'm saying? He puts up back to back 100 points in two different teams, and he's just a dog. He's just the guy in Florida. They lean on him so heavy. They're going to continue to lean on him. So I feel like six is definitely definitely a right judgment.
Yeah. So again, we agree. Hey, this is too much. This is too much this
Ah,
year. I don't know.
something's wrong. We're usually arch nemesis. I thought our rankings would be all over the
Uh,
place.
so number 7, we both have Mikko Rantanen. I like it.
Benton,
I think he scored a quiet 55 goals last year. He's my
very
keeper. I love
quiet.
him. 23
Yeah.
years old. The guy's only gonna get better. I love him. I love him.
He is only get better. I feel like everyone's like, oh, Tony, because of McKinnon. Well, McKinnon's hurt every year, guys. And then McKinnon goes down. Miko carries the ship. And 105 points in 82 games, 92 and 75. Like, he's a dog. 55 points, 30 goals. Ranton is very good, and he's only 26 years old right now. So you could see I had him at the 10th spot before, but when I reread the list and I saw the guys I put in front of him, I'm like, I can't. He's like Rantanen's too good, so I had to jump him up there, and I feel good about it. I feel like he deserves to be at the 7th spot, even though
Yeah.
he's your keeper. But yeah,
So
that's a good
number 8,
judgment.
we've got I have Igor Shesterkin, and you have Jack
Oh,
Hughes. Now I think this is
yeah,
where I think our drafting methodologies kind of
yep. This
intersect
is where
here.
we differ.
Yeah, I definitely see the value. I think with our scoring system, I think goalies get undervalued. And so, like I said, I got Igor in the top, and I think he's going to bounce back. I don't think last year was his best year,
I don't think
obviously.
so either.
And I think he'll have another good year this year. I think he'll be closer to 2 years ago. But I mean, we'll see. Right? Goalies are voodoo. They're black magic. Who knows? It's
I
a
think he's
bit
just so
craziness.
talented. He has all the talent in the world, and it all depends on the team in front of him. Like that playoff run, he was still the best goalie when the playoffs were over, and he got knocked out in the first round. So
Yeah.
just classic Rangers where they can't back up their goaltender. But yeah, Igor at 7, I could see that. I put Jack Hughes there just because he's so young. He's 21 years old, 99 points, and he's the guy in New Jersey, 43 goals last year. And I was just looking at age. Like I'm a forward guy, and I feel like 100 points. Like if I'm just gonna go for that 100 points when I see it, and then I'll worry about goalies and stuff after. So that strategy hasn't bode me well yet, but here we are.
Yeah, no, I like Jack Hughes. You're optimistic on him at 8, but I can see it. I think I maybe have him a bit low at 16, but I think it's just again, I think it's it's um, all the projections and stuff like that starting to catch up with him. I think last year was
Yeah,
his
he
breakout year,
started
and
off slow.
things are going to escalate, and I don't. But again, here's like you said with Timo Meyer, right? I think it's the same situation. Jack
Yeah,
Hughes is the guy. Is he still going to be the guy, or is Timo the guy, or they make each other better? Who knows, right? So we'll see what happens in New Jersey
yeah,
this year. But I could see it.
interesting
I
season.
don't hate it. I don't hate him at 8.
Yeah, yeah.
So
We're gonna differ from here on after.
you say that, but at number 9 we both have Jason Robertson.
Jason Robertson. Oh shit, that's surprising. I thought you were gonna have him way lower, but I'm glad we agree on that. It makes me feel like my pick was a little bit justified.
Yeah, no, I like that Robertson pick. Like I said, I was praying he would drop to me in the
Yeah,
preseason discussions we were having with people. Arden, it sounded like he might go Kucherov. You were thinking Bedard, possibly.
yeah.
I think you were lying to me. That's fine. And Mike wasn't really sure on him, so Mike, I was thinking, there's an actual chance that Jason drops to me. So like I said, with Bedard going, with Bedard dropping, sorry, I knew he was gonna. And, Jason was one of the guys that would go higher. Same with Brady. I was
Yeah,
like, you know what, I'll take Bedard, but yeah, I think nothing but the best of Jason Robertson. So I think that's a solid pick
yeah.
at
I
number
feel like
9.
he's definitely just underrated. Probably gonna take a few more years to get noticed, but I don't know. I don't know why he keeps getting overlooked, but maybe hopefully not for much longer.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he had that contract stuff last year, right? So I think when we
That's
drafted,
probably why.
he didn't have a contract, so there was a chance there might be a holdout, which is recently why I let him drop a little bit last year.
Yeah,
But John scooped
and I
him
feel
fair
like
points, so
John scooped him like pretty late in the year, and I feel like just because like I've said his stats earlier, but I'm gonna pull them up again. But he's so early in his career, so maybe that's why he's not getting the respect he gets. But he's only been in the league for 4 years, but he's tearing it up every year.
yeah, yeah, he's strong. So number
Yeah, it's funny.
10,
Like,
this is kind of funny. I have Kale McCarr, your keeper, and you
oh
have this is where you
shit!
let David Pasternak drop to. So
Yeah,
again, I think this is partly in our drafting methodologies. Again, I value the
it
D man
is.
a little bit higher. And I think the role of Kale, obviously, he won a championship for me the year
Sure
before,
did.
and
Let's stop talking about it.
and I like him. I think he definitely has a bounce back here. I think the injuries hurt him a little bit last year, but he's probably the only defenseman who I think I could close my eyes and wake up at the end of the season and just know he's got point per game. He's just that
Oh
guy.
yeah, he's just a stardom, and you forget him. Like even out of respect, I never bench the guy.
Yeah,
I just keep him in the starting lineup because he's a lock at least for 80 points. I feel like the floor is 80 points if he remains healthy. Point per game is not far fetched for him, and the ceiling is 100. He might be the next defenseman to hit 100 points.
yeah,
I definitely would have rated him a little higher. I have him to begin the second round, but I don't know. I'm just seeing these forwards. I got forward biased, so that's where it is. I'm definitely gonna disagree on the next one, aren't we?
yeah. We are. So you have Tage Thompson, who I love.
Tage Thompson,
Uh,
11.
I think he's a little bit high there. I've got Kaprizov, Kirill the Thrill.
Okay, I got him right next at
Yeah.
12.
So yeah, I think we can see it. I could see why you're high on Thompson. I like him. Obviously, I'm invested in Buffalo this year. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's his
It's just
flashiness, the way he moves, his size. I like the potential of the player. I rated him high just because of what he did last season and the season before. I feel like that's just going to continue. But yeah, the only worry I do have is the injury concerns and the fact that he necessarily came out of nowhere, and like he went from 13 points to 68 and then to 98. So he is a great player, but yeah, I feel like I had to put him at that 11 spot 'cause I saw everyone underneath him, and I'm just thinking if I was drafting, Tage Thompson would be there.
yeah, yeah. I feel you. I feel you. So number 12, yeah, you got Kaprizov, so fair
Real.
enough, and I've got Kucherov. So again, I have the
Okay, to
injury
the 12th
concern for
spot.
Kucherov really affected my rankings
That's
for
fair.
him. I still think obviously think very highly of him, but I have him a bit lower.
It's crazy
So
how Kaprizov, he was rated 6 last year, and then he dropped down
yeah,
pretty hard. I think it's
yeah.
after just one down year, but he'll do better.
Yeah, I think so too. So number 13, you have Kale McCarr, so not too far off from where I had him, and
Nah.
I have Andrei Vasilevsky. So he
Oh,
would have been one of
okay.
my potential keepers. I thought he would be my
Yeah,
keeper. Obviously, the injury changed things a bit for me, but I rate goalies highly. I think Vasilevsky is such a steady guy. I don't know if I
yeah.
would have rated him quite as high if I'd done these ratings before the injury or after the injury.
The injury.
I think that
It's
definitely
tough
affects
because
him. I was
yeah, because it's
hoping,
tough to come back from an injury like that as a goaltender, right?
yeah, and I was kind of hoping, like this is their first full summer they've had in years.
Everyone was. Yeah,
Why? Like, I don't know. Again, goalie's injury it's hard to predict, but I was kind of hoping he would come back healthy. I was hoping this might be a healthy full year for him,
yeah. It's
rested.
a shame, and I
Yeah,
I get it. Players want their summers off. They want to relax. They want to chill. They don't want to do surgery. But man, that hurts. A week before the season, he decides to get surgery and end it.
yeah,
But yeah, I do like the pick. He went what in like the third or fourth round in our league to in the fourth round. So
yeah,
if he comes back strong, it could be good. But it just worries me as a goaltender coming back after injury.
yeah,
If Tampa's trouble and they rush him back, if he tweaks it, if Tampa's in a good place, they could probably take their time. But it all depends on the moves they make.
yeah.
But I like that.
That's
13th Vasilevsky. That's
yeah.
fair.
So 14, you have Brady Kachuk, and
Yes,
I
sir.
have Ilya Sorokin.
Oh, Sorokin. I don't think I even have him on the list.
You
No,
do
I
not.
don't.
You do not.
Yeah. I just hate the Islanders. I don't know. Yeah, I know he's a stud, but they hate scoring goals over there. So how much longer could he freaking hold them on his back?
Yeah, I agree. I think the only saving grace I think he has is they play a very tight. It's a Lou Lamoriello team, right? The New Jersey Devils
Yeah.
in front of Martin Brodeur. They were so tight defensively. I think the Islanders are similar, and Sorokin kind of allows them to play that tight checking game. So I don't know. I like that. I like goalies. I think goalies provide good value. I think in our league where we reward saves and we take points away for goals against, being a low scoring team obviously benefits them because there's less risk in running him out and starting him as many games as you want. So from a fantasy perspective, I do really like Ilya Sorokin. John now has Vasilevsky and Sorokin.
Yeah.
I think that's
And
dangerous.
Gustafson too, yeah.
Um, so yeah, we'll see what he does with that. We'll see how they work out for him. Who knows if Vasi comes back? But I do think Sorokin's a stud, and I like him at 14.
Yeah, John said I'm never dealing with goalie problems again. He
Yeah,
drafted his shit.
yeah. We talked about Chick earlier, so we can move on to
Yeah, we don't
pick
need to talk
15.
about him.
You have Mitchell Marner. I think that's a keeper
Mitchy
bias. I
boy.
think that's a least
Man,
bias.
get out of
I
here.
like
He's
him.
never
I don't like him at 15. I have Roman Yossi.
Roman Yossi at 15. Okay, I could see that. I put Marner so high just because right wings are so valuable in fantasy. Like I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, he's the fourth right winger. I have him as the fourth right winger as well.
Yeah,
Um,
even last year he
or
finished
fifth right
fifth
winger.
behind
Sorry,
JT. Yeah, he finished fifth behind JT Miller and Kucherov, Matt Kachuk, Mikko Rantanen, Pasternak. That's pretty great company
for sure.
for Mitchy boy. I feel like he flirts with 99 points every year. This is the season he gets 100 with Bertuzzi on his line now. It's no more Michael Bunting or Kerfoot fanning on these goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm high on Mitch. It could be keeper biased. It could be keeper. If he wasn't a right wing, he would have been a little lower. But position wise, I like him. I like
Yeah.
a 100-point right winger. I think that's good value.
Yeah, for sure. I can see that. That's fair points. Okay, on to 16. I have Jack Hughes. This is where he falls for me.
Okay.
Again, I like him. He's a center and left wing. I like the potential. I think next year he'll probably rise in the rankings. I think it's just his
You will.
previous years catching up. You have Elias Pettersson.
That was
That's
that
a
was
bit
the
of a
thought
reach.
process for me.
That's a reach. So
I
what
feel
got you there?
honestly, we could look back at this and I could be like, I must have been high when I chose Elias Pettersson for sure. But I don't know. I'm looking at the list and he's 24 years old. He absolutely broke out last year with 102 points within 80 games, 39 goals, 63 assists, a back-to-back 30-goal campaign. I just feel like he's very interesting this year. He chose not to sign, so he's either going to tear it up to get a new contract somewhere else, or he's going to tear it up to demand to get that money, that top dollar, to stay in Vancouver and see where they're at. And he's angry. He wants to be a playoff. He wants to be a
We're losing
playoff
you for
player.
a
He
sec
wants to
there.
push it to the playoffs.
You plugged
Oh,
in?
you're losing me.
Oh, there you go. You're back. You're back.
It's connection.
Yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. I think the fact he's in a contract year is a really good point. I think
I love contract year players. They always break out. If you've noticed, contract year players, they have something to play for. They want to get paid. They're seeing Matthews get paid 13 million for playoff failures after failures. So they're like, we need to get this money. And the cap's supposedly rising by $5 million. So I don't know. I kind of like. I might look back at this and be like, Pedersen should have been outside the top 24, but I'm pretty high on Pedersen this season, especially this season.
yeah.
I
Okay.
feel like he gets 40 goals and at least probably 110 points.
Yeah, I don't think he was too far off on my list, but he definitely didn't make the
Yeah.
top 25, so it's a bit of a
Yeah.
stretch, but okay. I can see it. All right, so
This one's good. You're not going to like this one.
I don't hate it. I
Okay.
have
Too
I have
high.
Jake Ottinger at 17,
Jake
and you have
Ottinger.
Alex
Okay.
Ovechkin.
At 17. I, again, this is just this season bias, but apparently Backstrom is saying he feels good. He feels healthy again. And if Backstrom could get back to even just like 80% of what he was, that Ovi Backstrom duo will just be lighting it up again. And all Washington, I feel like, cares about is getting him that goal record. Like,
Yeah,
obviously, they'd like to make playoffs, but they're all in agreement. We're going to get Ovechkin that goal record by any means necessary. So, healthy John Carlson back. You have Sandin as an option who did very good as a quarterback if Carlson needs a little bit more time to get his game going. And I can't pronounce his name, but that rookie that's playing on Ovechkin's right wing, that new Russian kid, he's apparently very good. So I feel like this year you could even get another 40 goals and maybe even 45, 50. A little bit ambitious, but I went bold for 16 and 17 for
I
sure.
like it. You know what? No, I can see it for sure. I think I've got Ovechkin down at 20, so only a few spots down there. So I'm right there
Oh,
with
okay.
you.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
it's
it.
not that bad.
I think it just really comes for me. Like I think again, goalies are so important. I think Jake Ottinger. I think that Dallas
Yeah,
team is a contender for 50
love
wins,
Ottinger
45 wins, and I think Ottinger. They're
easily.
gonna ride him, right? He's gonna be whatever. He's gonna have 36 wins probably. So
Oh, yeah. He's young. He wants the job. He's got the job, so they're going to ride him to the end.
yeah. All right, so at 18, you have Igor Shesterkin, your first goaltender. You really let
Now I
him.
got
I
my
feel like you let him
goaltender.
drop.
I live off.
10 slots lower than I had him.
10 slots. I don't know. After all the 100-point potential forwards were gone and Obi for the goals, I'm like, all right, now I start picking goalies.
Yeah, yeah. So you got your first goalie, and here
I
I
like
have
Igor.
my fifth goalie with Connor Hellebuck.
fifth goal. I'm at my first, you're at your fifth. This is where we differ in
Yeah,
fantasy ranking. So
for sure.
watching the show, you'll know. I'm a forward guy. Adam's a defense goalie guy.
For sure, yeah. So I think again, like I said earlier, I think Connor Hellebuck. I don't think he ends the year in Winnipeg. I think there's a lot of upside there.
I don't
Um,
think he ends the year. Man. It'd be crazy if they let him ride the year and not at least extend him. If you're gonna extend it, do it before the year's over. Don't ride out the year and let him
yeah,
walk for nothing.
and I don't think he extends. I think he's over Winnipeg. I think he's
Who
ready to
wants to
move
live
on.
in Winnipeg, man?
That's it. That's it.
Yes.
Okay, so on to number 19. So this is where you have Jake Ottinger. So again, your goalies back to
Goalies
back. I
back to back.
respect it.
Yeah,
I respect it.
yeah. We talked about Ottinger. We know we're
Yeah.
high on him.
And
Who do
I've
you
got
got?
Brady Kachuk. So
Brady Kachuk 19th. Wow, so 14th, 19th. Okay,
yeah,
that's not bad. That bad of a jump.
yeah, not too
Do you
bad.
think he hits 40 Genos this year?
Uh, Yeah, you know what? I'll go on record.
I
I'll say
think
with
so.
if
You go on
Stu's
record? Oh,
playing with
okay.
him, I think he does it.
Yeah.
I think Norris should fall down to 2C. And I
Yeah,
think
keep Stu up there. If
yeah,
Stu's your guy, he's gonna have to learn it eventually.
yeah, and I think as much as I drafted Shabbat last year. I like Shabbat. I don't think that Sanderson was ready to take over PP1 last year, and Shabbat I don't think is a power play guy. I think he's a minute eater. So now that they have the option of Sanderson or Chikrin, I think that power
Yeah,
play is good. I think
I feel like
Brady
Chikrin
benefits.
gets it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Brady.
Brady benefits for sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Chikrin starts with it at least, but having Sanderson as that option, I think is
Well,
also
having
good.
Sanderson as options huge. He's
Yeah,
young, and I think he was running the power play in the preseason, and he's doing very good.
yeah.
Yeah, Brady Kachuk scored 35 goals last year. Five more goals is not a stretch. I'll go on record. He scores 40 this year as well.
I like it. I like it. Okay, so at
20
20
spot.
spot, we both had our old guys. I had Ovechkin. This is where he fell for me.
Oh shit,
And you had
Sid
Sidney
the Kid.
Crosby. I
Yeah,
like it. I
Sid
like
the
it.
Kid.
Okay.
I like Pittsburgh offensive upside this year. I feel
Okay.
like he's again a lock for a point per game. He's been a point per game his entire career. He's so why miss it now with a 100 point Norris Trophy winner right behind you?
Yeah.
So I feel like he could flirt with at least 82 to maybe even 90 points. Don't think he hits 100. 100's a little bit much for his age, especially with like Gunsel's going to come back and they got more weapons. They got Riley Smith now and they got more pucks to go around. But at least 82, 90 points. So I got to put some respect on Crosby. I can't let him drop out of our top 24.
I like it. I like it. All right, 21. You have sweet boy Rupe Hintz.
Sweet boy,
My
Rupee.
Didn't get to draft him this year. Really sad. Had him 2 years
Yeah,
running. I love him. I
he is
think
a
that's
stud.
high for Rupe Hintz. I like him, but I think that's high.
Honestly, let me pull up his stuff. Who do you have?
I have Georgiev. I think goalies are
Okay,
really
I can see
strong.
that.
And I think Colorado's
No,
just
I can
pure
see that.
wins. Yeah, and I think also with Francouz injured for the year, I think they're going to lean on Georgiev even more. And so I think that
Nice.
there's a good opportunity for him to, play 62 games and end up with, 36 wins. So yeah,
Yeah, he's not going to be able to rest even if he tried.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I put Rupee up there. He's just a point per game always, 75 and 73 games. The year before that, 72 and 80. But he's always injured. That's the only thing that concerns me. But I'm so high up on Dallas this year. I feel like maybe him and Robertson could. But Robertson flirts with 100 for sure. But I think now's Rupee's time to get that 80 to 95 point campaign.
I like it.
So my it might be biased again, but I had to slot Rupee up there in the 24.
I love it. I love it. All right, so number 22, you have my boy, my
I
keeper,
have your boy.
Rasmus
Yeah.
Dahlin. I love it. I love the respect. Put the respect on his name. I appreciate that. I got UC Saros. Again, I think it's the goalie thing.
Saros.
Saros
Does
just sees so
Nashville
many
not concern
pucks.
you? Yeah,
Nashville does concern me, but he just sees so many pucks. We appreciate saves in our league. We appreciate starts. I think
we do.
yeah, and maybe this is again, maybe he's a guy that I think that's declining in projections. I think he's on the he's on the way down. I don't think he makes the top 25 next year, especially unless he gets moved. I don't think Nashville's
Yeah.
getting better right now. But for now, he hangs on in the top 25 at 22. And I think yeah, like Darlene's on his way up. So I appreciate you put him there at 22. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I had to slide him into the top 24.
Yeah. 23. I have Tage Thompson. This is where he falls in for me.
Okay.
And you have
Okay.
Braden Point.
Braden Point.
We
You can't
talked.
ignore the 50 goal. You can't. 50 goals at 23. That's great value for a second rounder. So until like he probably shuts it down again, because it's not like the first time he did it. He had 92 points too before when Kucherov had that huge heart winning trophy year. So yeah, like again, forward bias, but I look at 50 goals and I'm like, how can that not beat a top 24 players scoring 50 goals? It's tough.
Yeah,
It's tough. That's 100 points in our league.
yeah. No, I feel
You know
you.
what I
I
mean?
feel you. Yeah.
Uh,
All right. So at 24, this is where I have your boy Mitch Marner and you have Roman Yossi.
Mitchie, I have Yossi slash Dougie because I could not
Yeah, you
decide
could.
who I liked more.
I broke the tie for you. I threw Yossi up there because I know you
Yeah,
drafted him. So you know.
I decided. Yeah, it should be Yossi.
Yeah. And then I at 25, you got Hamilton, and I have Darlene. So again, I think we're Darlene, we're in
Okay.
the same area there. Uh,
Yeah,
I think I like Hamilton. I don't think he makes the list. Again, I think I'm a little more heavier on the goalies than you are. Obviously, you only have two goalies. I have
yeah,
seven. Uh, so I think there's a bit of that going on there. But I respect it. I like Hamilton up there. And yeah, like I said, I got Darlene. So I
yeah.
think it's
Like
solid top 25. I think we'll have to
it's a
review
solid
this at the
top 25.
end of our fantasy
This will
year.
be this will be interesting. I feel like you went more like I guess I do like your goalie picks. You went more, which makes sense in the broader aspect of things, and I went more like forward, 100 points, and then I'm gonna fill out my positions after that.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing. This will be good to look back at the end and see how far off and
Yeah.
how close we got.
Well, let's say it's the eye test versus the computer guy. You know
Yeah.
what? I'm gonna stick with my stats. It's what I know. It's what I do. It's what I love.
Hey man,
Live and die by my
I don't
algorithm.
think yeah, that's it. I don't think any of your picks were that far fetched. I think I was went off the board with Rupia Hits and Pedersen, but if I get proved wrong, I get proved wrong. You can hate on me in the comments, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
All right. I think we're just over the hour mark, so I think it's
All right.
ready to wrap it up. I think going forward, I didn't have time to prep today. I think going forward, we'll have to run out the podcast with some of Jay's classic memes that he posts in our group chat. Just no context, just so you can
No
see
context.
the nonsense that goes on. But for today, I think we'll just I think we'll just leave you with we love you guys. We're excited for a fantasy year. This is like
That's
Christmas.
it,
It's
baby.
like
This is
Christmas.
Christmas. Christmas came early.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're excited to come at you. We're not sure if we're gonna do this bi-weekly or weekly yet. We're kind of gonna do it on the fly for our beginning. But if you want us to cover anything, drop it in the comments and we'll discuss it on the next pod. And before we leave, what's your hot take for this season?
Hot take for this season.
Yeah.
My hot take for the season. I
Super spicy hot
Super
take.
spicy hot take. I think Pittsburgh makes the playoffs.
Ooh, shit, my
I think
worst
in a
fear.
Metro team that's stacked with the
Metro
Carolinas and the New
stacked, yeah.
Jerseys, I think they make
You
it.
trust Jari that much? I
I think
don't,
they do it
man.
in spite of Jari.
That would be impressive. It'd be if they do make the playoffs. I could see it being a wild card team because I think Carolina locks that top spot with Orlov now and D'Angelo. Like that their decor is just ridiculous. I think Jersey has that second, and then Rangers. If the kids don't pan out, that could be Pittsburgh spots. But Islanders are still there. Like that Metro's tough. Every time I'm like, what's the weakest position? I look at the teams. I'm like, fuck, every team, every like division has some pretty stacked teams. So Pittsburgh makes the playoffs, I would be surprised because they could definitely do damage with that squad.
I mean, you know me, I'm a fan of Kyle Dubas. I think he deserved the promotion to president of hockey operations. I'm pissed that the Leafs lost him. I think that was a mistake on
Yeah,
behalf of the
you love
board and
Dubas.
Shanahan and whoever else. So I think the guy knows how to manage a dime. You saw what he did with the cap space in Toronto. I think he's going to do it for them in Pittsburgh. And
Yeah,
I don't know.
he's definitely a smart GM. I think he'll just will his way to make them at least make the playoffs during the Crosby era, and then we'll see how good he is at building a team after that. Because I feel like he's just been at the kind of like the win now stage since he came into the league.
Yeah,
So when the Crosby era's done, it'll be interesting to see how he gets like draft capitals and all that.
yeah. What's your hot take?
Uh, my hot take I feel like the with how stacked the Atlantic is with Ottawa and Buffalo on the rise, I think the Tampa Bay Lightning miss playoffs this year.
Tampa
I
Bay
think they
misses the
miss.
playoffs.
I think
Whew,
Tampa Bay. That's my super
that's
spicy take. Yeah,
spicy.
I feel like
Oh,
Leafs win it. Leafs win Atlantic. Honestly, I feel like Buffalo or Ottawa probably take that second spot. And then I'm not counting out Florida or Boston. I hope Boston misses, but every time I count them out, they don't. So I feel like as long as you got Pasternak and McAvoy's a stud, you always got a shooting chance. They have the best tandem, Olmark and Swayman.
Yeah,
But I feel like unless Tampa Bay makes a move for a reliable backtender early, losing Vazzy hurts because
yeah,
he's that backbone of the team. 2 months of games is a lot in the Atlantic Division. If you're out of that wild card spot in 2 months, it's hard to climb back in. Not like the Leafs are going to start losing a bunch of games. Like Ottawa's not going to start losing a bunch of games. They could rely on Ottawa every year, but I feel like this year that finally they'll make the playoffs.
yeah. I think
So
Buffalo the
I'm
same.
looking at it. Yeah, Buffalo has to make it. They're
Yeah,
nasty. If Devin Levi is like what everyone says he is, you finally be the best goaltender they had since like Ryan Miller or whatever. Finally, like they solidified that crease, and yeah, I just feel like Tampa's just going to be on the outside looking in.
wow. So
Yeah,
I hear that and I like it. My only fear though is Florida. I just don't know.
you don't know
With
about
Montour
Florida?
and Ekblad out for till Christmas again,
Yeah,
right? Those big
that's
injuries,
true. That's another two
and
months. Yeah, that's
yeah,
true. And
and
now they have Oliver Ekman Larson.
yeah,
I
and
don't know how
like,
I feel about that.
does Bobrovsky keep his playoff form? Does Bobrovsky
Yeah.
come back as the Bobrovsky we've come to know and love over the last however many years in fantasy, where we laugh about the
Okay.
time he drops, gives up a six spot or a touchdown? Like, I don't know. Who
Or
are
is
we
he
gonna
the
see?
Bobrovsky Benson now winner
Uh,
Bobrovsky? Yeah, it all depends, I guess. If they could
yeah,
at least be in the mix until they get those guys back, then I could see them making a push for the playoffs. But
yeah,
if they're out of the mix, yeah, it's hard to climb out of the Atlantic. Getting off to a good start is going to be crucial.
yeah,
Like we see it happen to Ottawa. They start slow and then they end strong, but if you dig yourself a hole in that division, it's over.
yeah, yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah, so if Florida and Tampa don't make it, that makes the room for even Buffalo, Ottawa. I can't see Detroit. I can't see
Yeah,
Montreal. I can't.
I don't
I
see
just can't
Detroit
see it.
making it, but I do see Detroit making things harder for the other teams, and so that's where
Definitely
I
hard.
see the Floridas and
Yeah.
the Tampas aren't going to steal as many games from a Detroit as they have in previous years. So
No. Yeah, this division's going to be a bloodbath, and
I think
looking
so.
forward to getting it going.
I love it. I love it. All right, I think we sign
Awesome.
off there. It's been a good
Yep.
pod, the Wet Willie podcast inaugural.
Wet Willie podcast.
I love
Let's
it.
do it, baby.
I love it.
Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.